everybody, and welcome back to the Chilluminati podcast, episode 271. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mike Martin, joined by the Ghostface and Jack Torrance of LA, Jesse and Alex.
I am the Ghostface.
I'm definitely Jack Torrance. I live his life. Yeah. I am Jack Torrance.
You kind of do a little bit. It's not necessarily a lie.
Yeah, I kind of am him.
It's our spooky final episode of October, our Halloween episode.
Red Rum. Red Rum. Go, 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 go.
This boy has the shining. This boy has the shining.
I just want, at any time, I want to make a point of order that we should go to like a Walmart or like a JCPenney or something, walk around, and anytime we see a kid acting up, walk up to the parent and just be like, this kid has the shining.
Listen, this boy has the shining. You don't understand. I'm going to call to him in the middle of the night and I'm going to come save him when he's in a mansion. Red Rum, you get it?
Just walk away. Be like, this boy has the
That's
shining.
all you need.
And just walk away.
For the next,
you know this boy has the shining.
For the next 24 hours minimum, that mom is going to be thinking about what that fucking means and if she needs to be worried.
There is a generational gap there. There could be a moment where that mother's too young to know what the shining is.
Yeah, that's the problem is it's like a 50-50 on they're going to call the cops or you're going to just rent the shining.
There was Dr. Sleep, right? Like Dr. Sleep is somewhat recent with you and McGregor.
Yeah,
like
but
that was
people didn't see that because they wanted to see Dr. Sleep. They saw that because they were like, the continuation of the shining.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. What?
yeah, that's probably very true. Before we get into anything exciting for today, boys, we should put it up top. Our Chicago live show on December 20th is almost already sold out of tickets.
If it's
we got
not
the low
already
ticket warning.
sold out. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's got that low ticket warning we got yesterday or the day before. So
careful.
If you haven't gotten your tickets and you want to go, you got to snatch those fuckers up now.
They'll be by the way, just a heads up, a whole other podcast is being told the exact same thing. So you got potentially the same, but also competing audiences. So them is going to be sold out quick.
There's some Venn diagram overlap.
Absolutely sure.
I'm sure some of those people will know who Ian Mathis are.
I don't even think that's going to be a doubt. However, just be aware that it isn't just it's two full audiences.
One ticket, two shows.
And in honor of the day, since this is the 20th of December, not only do I have a pink ugly sweater with a cat with his tongue sticking out on it, but I also yesterday bought a pink Santa hat. So I'm ready.
We're also going to do not Alex's big smile, but Mike's giant red sack. So make sure you
Mike's
bring
giant red sack
that I can inspect.
Sorry, what?
For gifts.
What?
For me.
Mike's giant red sack.
You know, it's fine to refund your ticket now. It's all right. You don't have to come.
It's okay if that killed it.
I'll set up a separate event.
Yeah, if that killed it for you, it's fine.
We get it.
The red sack only event.
Red sack only.
That's all right.
Mike's red sack down at the bar under a bridge in Chicago, Illinois.
Listen, patreon.com now because this show's about to be canceled. I feel like
1:15 a.m. to whenever
to whenever it ends. Listen,
I will say that this is how you know the tickets are selling well. The company that owns the venue and stuff was like, do you want to do a second show later at night? And I was like, we're already doing two shows. And they were like,
you mean like a second duo of shows? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, you are. And I was like, yeah, we'd be there till like 3 a.m. Like you guys close. And they're like, do it. Oh, sorry.
Let's do it.
You want to do like a 4 a.m. show?
Yeah, that's how fast they're selling out. Is they were like, you guys should do a whole other show. And I was like, what?
That would have been, I would have loved to.
Shirtless second show. Just shirts.
Sure. Okay, that's a good idea. But what if instead of shirtless, we went Winnie the Pooh style?
Like no pants, but like
only
nice
shirts,
shirt.
Nothing else.
I'll wear the top half of the suit I got married in and no pants.
All three of us can't do that. One of us has to not be arrested because only one of us can be able to pay the bail. So one of us can't do it because we all can't be arrested.
Oh, I got nothing going on.
Oh, no, I want to go. Yeah, I'd go straight to jail proudly. Like,
God. All right, we got to get to the Patreon shill too. Jesus Christ.
Patreon,
what is the charge?
You say? Patreon?
Enjoying a show, a succulent show.
Yeah. What's the charge?
Democracy manifest. Yeah, that'd be me.
Just go to the Patreon. You get it. You love the show. You want to hang out. You want to support it. The best way to do it is go to patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. It's easy. It's easy. There's a bunch of stuff that you get for free, but that doesn't matter because the point is that you want to support us, right? The point is that you got a little extra money lying around and you want to boost us. So don't worry about the ad-free episodes. Don't worry about the art from Mel. Don't worry about all the other stuff, the mini-sodes, the rotten popcorn. Don't worry about any of that stuff. All the video
everything.
stuff. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just if you want to support us, go over there and see what you can do, and you might get some cool stuff for it. Patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. Reverse psychology. Reverse psychology.
It's everybody's favorite. It's a Halloween episode. We have a tradition here at Chilluminati Podcast. Every Halloween episode, or last episode, October, closest one, we love to dive into your stories. And the tradition has clearly caught on because the past couple of days, the Reddit has been being filled for like spooky episode story stuff that people have like experienced. So we've got a ton of stuff here.
Yeah.
21 pages of stories. I don't think we'll get through 21 pages of them, but we've got plenty of them to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big chunky one. So I gotta say, Jesse, I think you should take the very first story. Ooh. Bring us in. You had the most convincing witch laugh, so you go first.
I know you meant that as like, but part of me also knows that in general, people just think I laugh like a witch, which is
who did they say you sounded like? That was incredible the other day.
Oh my god, the bad guy, or not bad guy, but like the bully on Doug.
Yeah, Roger Klotz.
Oh, Roger.
Yeah.
Roger Klotz.
Yeah. They said I laughed just like Roger, and I thought that was really funny.
That's
very
great.
accurate. All right. My short ghost story by HK472205. I assume a birth date. I'm going to assume HK47 plus born the 22nd of May.
I think that's just his whole. I think that's just his whole designation as a droid, right?
His own character, maybe his own like fan character.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have no idea. 2205.
Yeah, he's an HK droid.
That's the year the Savior's coming back.
2205. You know what? It's just far enough away that it doesn't bother me at all.
That's the real year the dogs are finally coming.
Pro tip out there: like, don't form a cult, but if you're gonna form a cult, the doomsday should be after you die. Like,
oh yeah, way after you're dead.
Don't be dumb like all the other ones where they have to keep pushing back.
Yeah, why do you gotta do that?
Dead.
Yeah, why you gotta do that to yourself?
Finland, March 2009. I was 19 back then, and a security guard on a night shift, and me and my partner's job was to do our rounds on our clients' facilities, warehouses, shops, and other buildings, and respond to any alarms that went off during our 12-hour night shift. The shifts were all normal, and without events outside this one small event that even thought, or though, I'm not sure yet, probably had a reasonable explanation, gave me the creeps, and that I remember to this day. We got a couple IR motion detector alarms from a local Lutheran church's cellar crypt. Whoa!
That's fantastic.
A place they store the dead overnight before the funeral ceremony. I had purple satin silk curtains, couple of benches and tables, a very churchy vibe. Place instead of a crypt you would normally think. Anyway, we went to check the alarm and obviously found nothing out of the ordinary. No windows broken since it was underground. All doors were locked and undisturbed, but I did get a chilly feeling while checking the place out, especially near the shut coffin that was on the preparation room. I don't know if it had a dead person inside or not. Anyway, without further incident and logging the alarm as false, me and my partner locked up the crypt and left to continue our rounds. I don't know if my partner had any creepy feelings from the place, and since I was young and inexperienced, I didn't ask in case I would be ridiculed. That's the only thing even close to supernatural that has happened to me, and I grew up in a 170-year-old farmhouse. This story is so perfectly exactly what I imagine a real, like...
Yeah, this could very well be evidence of the paranormal as it would actually manifest. Maybe, but the story is so unremarkably undetailed and like straightforward that there's no reason somebody would ever make this up. Like, this happened exactly like this, right?
Yeah, literally walked into a crypt, which already is creepy.
Got a bad vibe.
And felt weird. And was like, I got a chill, something strange. I don't know if anyone was in the coffin, but it was, an alarm went off. We went to go check on it. There was nothing there. Like, that has all the signs of a creepy vibe. But it also seems like it could be any number of things, but you're creeped out because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
Right? Like, content wise, it's whatever. Contextually, it is like, oh yeah, no, I could get why you'd be terrified of being there because something went off in the crypt where no one's at, and then you got there and you felt weird. It makes perfect sense to me. I've definitely had moments like that.
I understand
where
exactly why that's
was normal.
scary.
Yeah, like something was normal, something like I heard something, and then even at night sometimes I'll be laying in bed and you hit that weird moment where you think you hear something. I will literally to no one be like, hello? And then
Have you
nothing
ever
happens.
had it
and I'm
like where you're like falling asleep, you hear somebody shout your name?
Absolutely. It sounds
Yeah.
just like your name, and you're like,
And you're like,
hello?
"Whoa," but no, it's your brain.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
happens.
Like even
Very
just
weird.
simple things like, you know, like you're like, think about your high school, right? That you like went to when you were a kid. Like, had you ever been there at
I
night?
really enjoyed the inside of the locker.
You ever walked across campus? Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucked. Going to the band room at night was scary as
It's
shit.
so crazy how spooky something completely unremarkable can get just because it's spooky. It's so wild.
And then at the same time, last time I was in New York, my I had to leave at 4 a.m. So I'm standing outside my hotel at 4 a.m., bag in hand. Down the street, there's like dudes hanging out. Across the street, it's pitch black, not a light on. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't I feel weird? You know, like that, like it's
Yeah.
late. There's no one around. It's super scary, but you see like figures down at the end of the street. I felt nothing. For some reason, I felt completely comfortable.
City that never
just
sleeps.
like waiting for this thing. Yeah. But I know that if you were to take that scene, put me in the middle of a forest and be like, wait for your
Fuck
Uber in the
that.
forest, I'd
Yeah.
be like,
Fuck
I'm dying out here, dude. This is it.
yeah,
I'm dead.
no way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking scary. Like the location can matter.
Yeah, like one noise that's like, ah, and it's clearly a deer or something, but it sounds like the demon coming to take your soul. You're like,
Start sprinting into the woods wildly.
You know, I've been walking through spider webs. That alone gets me fucked up. Like, like the human, like the ghosts are like almost like they don't need to be real to be scared. I don't know. It's fucked up.
Thank you so much to today's sponsor, HelloFresh. I've been with HelloFresh for years now. You know what I'm going to say? And I'm going to continue to tell you how much I freaking love HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And fall's here. Yeah, time's a thing, huh? Well, you might as well make this fall the tastiest season yet with farm-fresh produce and easy autumn-inspired recipes delivered right to your door with HelloFresh. HelloFresh, you know by now, delivers all pre-portioned ingredients that you'll need to make easy, homemade meals. All the proteins, veggies, sauces, spices, and more arrive in your box along with simple instructions that walk you through each step in the cooking process. Whip up tasty restaurant-style meals in your own kitchen without high price tag or takeout and in less time than it takes to get delivery. And if you're a busy person like I am, then you can choose meals that match you and your family's lifestyle. With preferences like fit and wholesome, quick and easy, or vegetarian, you'll always find something to love with HelloFresh. If this sounds like something you want to check out, then you might want to sign up, because you're going to get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/freechill. Applied across 7 boxes, new subscribers only, and varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/freechill. Thank you again to HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Oh, the other day, I don't know if you guys can see it. Right behind my head, there's some omnibuses.
There's not a lot I can see, but
There's some
It's very
omnibuses
bright in
of
your
the Green
apartment.
Lantern. You can see them kind of like straight next to my nose.
now,
And
we have like 144p version of you. Everybody else who can see high def
yeah,
though.
there's some omnibuses of the Green Lantern there. They're like, you know, maybe like 1.5 2 inches wide, maybe a little bit. I don't know. They're pretty thick, and they have a slip cover on them because they're hardcover. And the other day, I was talking to Kelly about something just completely mundane, and I was like talking to her, and she was standing in front of those, and I don't know what happened, but one of them just shot up like maybe like an inch up the spine of the book, straight up. And I was like, whoa. And she tried to put it down, and it actually took like effort to pull it back down. And I don't know what happened there. That was really weird. And there's been some more just like straight up like walking around, but nothing like definitive, but just some very, very creepy vibes lately.
Like just like footsteps.
Like stuff that sounds like, did my neighbors just move something in their cupboard that's like echoing out of my cupboard? Or like, what is that? But it's like in the middle of the day or sometimes like at a very, very late time. Both times when I feel like nobody is around.
Have you tried addressing it?
Like being like, hello? Yeah.
Or being like, get out. Or like, you're not welcome here. Leave.
I've definitely like tried to talk to. I've never said you're not welcome here. Leave. But I have been like, hello, is somebody in the kitchen? You know, can you make another sound? That kind of thing.
I wonder if it's the thing in your apartment followed you to the hotel that night.
Just got on the
And
plane
like
with me, dude.
jiggled your door handle and like that one night.
I had like a little like a dog with me in my hotel room, but it was like spectral and it wanted to leave.
Yeah, little spectral pup following you around.
That was very scary. That was really scary.
Oh, God. Anyway, we got to move on. All right, Alex, you take the next one.
My Encounter with an Eldrich Mask by Thane Visor. I've recently been getting into Chilluminati, binging the podcast as I work, and I just wish I started listening sooner. After hearing a lot of stories from other listeners and tales of the supernatural, I decided to make a Reddit account to share an encounter I had many years ago that's been on my mind. Probably because I've been listening to a podcast about aliens, conspiracies, and supernatural stuff. Memories of it.
Yeah, good guess.
Yeah, exactly. Very good deduction. Memories of it come back every now and then, again, especially when spooky season approaches. The guys are free to tell this story if they wish, but I'm also more than content to see what the community makes of it as well. This encounter takes place one evening in my childhood home I was visiting for the weekend, coming from college. All of it takes place within my bedroom after I went to sleep. This encounter has two parts, a strange dream and then the encounter itself. I debated for a while if the dream was worth mentioning, but considering how vivid and odd it was and that it preceded the encounter, I figure why not. The dream. The first thing I remember is looking through the slightly open door of my bedroom to the hallway outside and seeing a figure in a white t-shirt walk past the opening further down the hallway, away from my room. I remember little of the figure beyond the simple shirt and vaguely masculine appearance. Dream me was nonplussed by this and immediately turned towards my nightstand, which held a few flashlights. My dream self grabbed a light, flicked it on, and then walked over to one of the two windows in my room. It was summertime, so one of my windows had an AC unit installed into it, and it was this window I approached. I noticed on approach a stereotypical ghost girl, black hair, white gown or dress, somehow holding onto the side of the AC unit where the cool air came out of. She was lying prostrate over the AC unit, her head down and face obscured, putting herself perpendicular to the floor.
Is this person like a professor or something? Just the way they write is like,
I was going to say, how dare you all? I get the run-on sentences.
Well,
no offense, HK47.
If I'm being,
I know you're from Finland, but I'm just saying that was a full run-on sentence with no periods, no nothing. And then Alex is like, in the erudite world of ghosts and goblins and ghouls, the nature of a ghast, potentially some sort of paranatural creature levitating above me as it looked down perpendicular to... I'm like,
in all fairness, there are plenty of typos and mistakes in this one as well.
Yeah, you're just better at covering up, and frankly, I don't like it.
She was lying prostrate over the AC unit, her head down and face obscured, putting herself perpendicular to the floor. Gravity had no effect on her. Her hair and dress were flat against her head instead of falling downwards to the floor. When Dream Me was maybe 5 feet away, they proceeded to shine their light right on this ghost girl. She reacted by craning head back, her long black hair still obscuring her face, and seeming to look past me towards the door behind me while letting out an unearthly screech. This... You almost heard it, but then I woke up. It's weird. At no point during this dream did I feel anything. It was like I was apathetically observing something play out. To that point, I remember my first thought on waking being along the lines of, wow, that was a weird dream. I feel like I should be afraid of it, but I'm not. That was you in New York on the street. A few moments of me staring at the ceiling passed before another thought crept into my head. A realization. So why do I feel terrified?
Boom, end of episode. See you next week, everybody.
I'd be so upset with both of you.
Episode 2, The Encounter. I felt a strange terror. Somehow I knew it not to be linked to the dream. Some instinct in me suggested this, but it was a terror unlike anything I had ever felt before or since. I've never felt the fear of being terrified for my life before, and I pray none of us ever do, but I liken this fear to that. That fear of death strikes me as the closest approximation. I scanned my dark room trying to find the source of this fear, and it didn't take me long to find it. In the corner of my room, directly across from where I was sleeping, was a mass of darkness. The M and the D are capitalized. It stood out amongst everything else for two reasons. For one, it was impossibly dark, blacker than a black hole, far too dark for the gloom of my room. And for two, I could not take my eyes off of it. For two is incredible. I can't believe it.
For two?
Yeah. It's hard to put, it's like the dad from Mary Poppins wrote this. It's hard to put into words some of what happens next, but I'll do what I can. On sighting this dark mass, capital D, capital M, I experienced what I can only call an intense cognitive dissonance. I felt like my thoughts split into two. One, a primal instinctual side that took the reins and paralyzed me in bed. For the next few minutes, I would be unable to move anything except my eyes. But the other side of me, the other side was calm, analytical, and inquisitive. I suppose this strange dissonance may have spared this part of me the brunt of the intense fear I experienced that evening. I nevertheless still felt it at the edge of my cognition, keeping the primal side from letting me move. Unable to do anything else, this analytical side of me took to examining in all ways it could this strange thing in the corner of my room. I could still move my eyes, at least. Hard to say how long exactly I lay there in my bed analyzing this dark mass, capital D, capital M, but it must have been at least a few minutes. Much like me when I'm not scared so hard my mind fractured, this analytical side took to asking itself questions and then answering them in nearly the same breath, so to speak. The thoughts all took place in my head, parentheses. Let me try to compile the various thoughts this part of me had, the questions and conclusions that I came to. What am I looking at exactly? Bang. Appears to be an amorphous blob of darkness, maybe about 3 feet in diameter at its widest points. It seems to kind of meld into the surrounding darkness, lacking definite edges with a core that's way too dark for everything around it. Surely, it's a trick of the light? No. There's dim moonlight coming through the window just above the mass. However, the mass was still darker than the space under the other window where the AC was and no light touched. Further, the wall behind the mass was white, making it stand out as anomalous more. Is there something in the corner that could be tricking my sight? There are some old VCRs staked in the corner, but little else. This mass is too large to be that. Are we playing Scary Game Squad right now? Are we just walking around a room pressing X?
Surprise!
I don't know, but I'm enjoying the hell out of this. This is great.
Perhaps I'm still dreaming. No. I feel the cool breeze of the AC unit and the weight of my bedding. I've had many dreams, but such vivid sensations from a dream are unheard of. At least for me. After having these thoughts and coming to no firm conclusion, I managed to steel myself, break the paralysis, and carefully move my hand to one of the flashlights on the nightstand. Want to know what I saw when I turned the flashlight on? I saw the corner of my room. But I still felt the fear just as intense as ever. I turned the flashlight off, and mass returns, as though it never left. Light on, light off. It occurred to me that the only thing light does is render this terrifying eldritch mass of darkness invisible. So I kept the flashlight off and just lay there in my bed, staring at this strange, terror-inducing thing in the corner of my room. I wish I had a more interesting end to this story, but at some point I must have fallen asleep. Next thing I know, it's morning. I've never encountered that mass again, and it would be many years still before I fully moved out of that place. I tried to look into what this could be, but the closest approximation I could find are shadow people. But their typical descriptions don't line up with my encounter. At least from what I read. Odd as it may sound, I'm kind of frustrated by it all. The massive darkness did nothing the entire encounter. Didn't even move. Just vibed in the corner. So why was I so scared? I'd like to believe that, despite appearances, if the thing wasn't taking any threatening actions, I would have calmed. But the fear was as high as it could get the whole encounter. Did I just hallucinate the whole thing? It felt too real, but I guess if I did hallucinate, how would I know? I have no history of hallucinations, drug use, or the like, prior or since. I guess I'm ultimately just left perplexed by it all. Maybe the Eldritch Horror was just trolling me the whole time. This post got a lot wordier than I wanted. I'm sorry about that. I get that way, trying to explain things. For those that managed to make it through all that, does anyone know what that might have been? I'm genuinely curious on anyone's thoughts on the subject. Bangor, Maine, 1898. A lighthouse on the edge of a cliff.
The Black Mass just need a little bit of weed. You would have been good.
The Black Mass just needs a little editor. But this is a really interesting tale. This is a rousing tale. This was more of a writing exercise than like a
absolutely. That's what I love about it.
But that's
very good.
That to me is just as authentic. Like, you know, like everybody can ask like whether something's true or not, but I actually don't really care. And I actually care more about whether or not I had a good time like reading about it. So that's kind of the vibe.
Thank you so much to today's sponsor, Hero Forge. And God, I was so excited when they told me they wanted to do some more sponsorships. Listen, if you know me, you know I'm a huge tabletop RPG nerd, and I go to Hero Forge for the best quality minis out there. I absolutely love them, and especially when we get to start a new campaign, there's something really fun about jumping on Hero Forge and just starting to put your hero together piece by piece, getting to look exactly the way you want so that when it comes in, you start playing, you have that connection with that character right away. That, and if you like me and you have a 3D printer, you can actually buy the digital files even cheaper and print it at home so you don't have to worry about all the shipping if that's something you don't want to worry about. But look, my 3D printer can't do 8K models. It can't do super hyper bright colors. There's a lot of things it just can't do that Hero Forge can do. And for those premium minis, that's what I go to Hero Forge for. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from, all within your browser. Hero Forge offers custom minis in a variety of material, including bronze, color standees, and color plastic options. Hero Forge also offers downloadable model files for the 3D printer that I was talking about earlier, and Hero Forge is constantly expanding its catalog of customization options, adding new parts every week and major features like new species and custom posing on a regular basis. Listen, they don't have to tell me why I should like Hero Forge. I've used them well before I ever worked with them. I've been using them for years. If you're a tabletop person like I am, just go check them out. Just go check out Hero Forge. It's going to be well worth your time. If you decide you want to get any of the things that are there, just make sure you use code CHILL on checkout for 5% off all orders of physical miniatures. It's not combinable with any other special promotions or sales though, but if there's none there, go ahead and use code CHILL, 5% off all your physical minis and stuff. Just go check it out, man. Just go check it out. And while you're there, they've even got a Hero Forge Pro subscription. That's the perfect way to keep your minis game just top notch. Just check it out. Anyway, thank you, Hero Forge. I could just keep rambling about you forever. I appreciate your sponsorship. Bye. On to the next one then. My absurd and terrible waking dreams from Chibberton. Howdy, fine folks. Been a long time listener, and after finally getting caught up and hearing the dream episodes, I figured I should finally share these bizarre visions I've had with more than my close friends. Feel free to read on the podcast if you like. Maybe y'all could divine some sort of meaning where I couldn't. And I apologize for a lengthy post, as this is just the more notable times over the course of years. Okay, so some important details first, but I have had a history of sleepwalking, though it's mostly been when I was younger, with the rare case of sleepwalking here or there in my adult life. Another key detail with these waking dreams, night terrors, is that I always wake up in an intense fright, and my only impulse is to get out or get away as fast as possible. Lastly, these all fade rather quickly upon waking up, so thankfully I'm not subjected to any of these for very long. Alrighty, that out of the way, here we go. The first couple of times it started happening, it felt fairly down to earth. I would wake up and I would see shadowy spiders in my web. I have woken up and I've seen spiders on the ceilings and walls.
Spiders is a weird, like dinner plate size spiders sometimes, like right in front of you.
I was cognitively, I was awake and I knew it was like a hallucination. When I would walk up to them and go to touch them, they would just disappear or become back to what it was supposed to be. So I get that. That shit is weird. Sometimes I would wake up shadowy spiders and I would literally jump out of bed and it would fade. Sometimes I would check around to make sure it didn't crawl under my bed or anything like that. It can be hard to tell if it was real in the middle of the night. I've got arachnophobia, so these feel self-explanatory. The first one that started to feel odd, I woke up in a panic and I could see clear as day was a single severed finger with a single bullet tied to it with a little string inching its way from the door to my bed and faded.
Bizarre.
Holy shit, like a finger from Thing from Addams Family, just
like a little inchworm? Yeah.
Dude, I would get up and stomp on that thing first and foremost.
Why? What would you stomp a human finger?
That has a bullet tied to it? That sounds like a message.
I'm
killing that fuck.
Were you afraid it's going to jump down your throat, climb up your nose?
First of all, I've never seen a severed body part move before. Second of all, there's a bullet to it. So there's a bullet on it. So it can't be good juju. That's bad vibes.
Just don't let it near a trigger. That's dangerous.
Yeah, don't let it near a pistol. Another one. Woke up in a panic, and standing in my bedroom doorway was a set of legs that ended at the torso, wearing a set of armor with a spear leaning up against. Think of your classic Roman centurion. All I knew was I had to get past it and sprinted out of my room, looked back, and it was gone. What if it's just one ghost desperately trying to make contact, but it can't do more than a body part or so at a time?
So he
First
tied a
it's
bullet.
finger,
He's trying to like tell about
then
his own
it's like,
murder.
Yeah, the bullet. Then it's like a weird night legs. It's weird.
This armor
this
one
was-
is like some kind of like Scary Game Squad like stealth movement tutorial.
For Scary Game Squad, for people who don't know what Scary Game Squad is, what is Scary Game Squad, Alex and Jesse?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. Jesse has been doing a show on his channel for about 45 years. That's us. We used to be young enough to drink on the show, but now we're just a couple doddering old fools blundering our way through some of the finest horror games the world has to offer. Patreon.com/Chilluminati.
My man.
Perfect. She goes on to say, this one I still remember the last seconds of the dream before waking. I was talking to someone, can no longer remember who.
Roger
and they
Claus.
said, yeah, it's scary, but not as scary as that guy in your closet.
Oh,
That would be fucking the worst thing to hear.
That
Dream
sounds
or awake.
terrible.
My eyes shot open, and sure enough, I could see the figure of a man in a trench coat that was unnaturally tall, hunching over in my closet. Couldn't see any notable features as he had the collar up and a hat very similar to the villain from I Know What You Did Last Summer. I then shouted, fuck! Loud enough to wake up every roommate in my apartment. I apologized and went back to bed. That's like the Hatman. Have you ever read the Hatman? A lot of people see the Hatman. My mom has seen the Hatman.
yeah, the Hatman is.
But
is
she's
the guy,
also
yeah.
partially schizophrenic and on medication now, so I can't really trust.
There's enough of a.
Oh, Hatman's everywhere. Yeah, he's been seen by so many people.
Everyone knows Hatman, dude.
I mean, I don't know if he's actually a man with a hat on, but there's some kind of. You know, like we all got the same computer. You ever think about like what stuff we have in common? Like maybe we all got Clippy, and it's just the Hatman. You ever think Hatman's just Clippy for our brain?
Real life computer, people just have.
He comes to us while we're sleeping, and he's like, "It looks like you're trying to build a go-kart."
Why he hasn't visited me? I wish he'd visit me.
You're too thirsty, man.
I want experience. I want the experience. I'm sorry. This time I woke up and it was like each of my walls were dim screens that displayed nothing but static. Then hundreds of Commander Shepard heads with cartoonishly bulging eyes began appearing saying, it's right behind you.
If you want, there's a clip. I want to see the clip.
Yeah, there's a video she gave, a YouTube link in
it's like a
in the
Gary's
screen.
mod.
If you wanted the exact visual, I'm going to go listen. I haven't seen this, so I don't know what
It's like,
this is.
I mean, I've seen this meme before.
Oh,
It's that bulging eyes, like Gary's mod Shepard
Yes.
model.
yep.
It looks horrific. His eyes are like vibrating and shit.
All I can think about now is like I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite dream on the
Favorite shop
Citadel.
Yeah.
That's all I can imagine.
It's my favorite monster right behind you.
We have to have. I like Mark is part of my podcast, my vampire podcast. We should have him on this show for something weird. He's like super into like the supernatural and weird shit.
That guy's voice,
Yeah, it is Commander.
not
Shepard.
his face. Yeah. Just to be clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had apparently slept on my arm long enough to put it to sleep because in my sprint toward my door, my numb arm had wrapped around my chest, convincing me in my barely awake and frightened state that whatever Shepard was trying to warn me about had grabbed me. I started to pull on my numb arm, attempting to free myself from the creature, and this had caused me to stumble into and knock over a shelf. After I came to my senses, I noticed I had a few scratches from the shelf and began cleaning up the aftermath. You live a cartoon character's life.
Whoa.
Like, it's a ghost! Oh, getting grabbed like very fucking shaggy. And a more calm one to end with. I woke up and could hear a bit of radio static, and then my friend's voice cut through the noise. Hey, the ghost is going to start hunting soon. You should probably get out of here.
Oh, shit.
So I calmly got up, walked all the way down the stairs, through several rooms, and made it all the way out to the garage in my half-awake state. I then stood there for a solid 30 seconds before I decided, yeah, it's probably good enough, and only properly woke up halfway back to my room. My friends and I had been playing a lot of Phasmophobia at the time, so it's easy to assume I got this one.
It's a very
There's
gamerly,
a handful more.
very gamerly
These are
set of visuals.
Yeah. There's a handful more, but these are the ones that have stuck with me for the most over the years. If you got any questions, you can I can try to answer them, but there's not really too much detail to any of these really outside of what I've written here. And just a little note on the end here. I love the work each of y'all do. Your podcast has made many a hard day a little easier to bear. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I like feel sorry for you, but also it's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. Like, it's just the cartoonish, half awake, sleepwalking responses are just straight out of
Each one of these is like so clearly motivated by something that you already know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the finger and the bullet, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say about that. I think some stuff is just free association, brain gumbo. But like some stuff you're like, this guy looked exactly like the guy from this movie. Or this one is Commander Shepard. This one is Phasmophobia.
all very informed of like what you're doing at the time. All right. Jesse, this one's written by a little bit nicer than the last one. No run-on sentences here. So you know what? You can have
I'm
this
seeing
one.
paragraphs. This is great.
Yeah. Easy read. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Take it.
My UFO sighting by Elvin_Noble. First, let me preface that I'm more on the Scully side than even Jesse. I frankly don't believe any of the things that they talk about, but the stories are interesting as works of fiction.
See?
I don't need to believe them to think they're interesting. I'm science-oriented and work on the basis of whether there's evidence or not rather than belief. I'm on episode 214. Oh, God. What episode are we now?
271, baby. You still got like
You're
a
catching
year's
up.
worth. Catching up. Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, hey, that Green Stone story, man. Bless.
Good luck.
Hey, you telling them to get ready
We had a
because of
post-
how good it
you know
was?
what? I'm going to give Alex his due where it's due. We had a post on our subreddit a while back that said the Greenstone was the first thing I listened to that pulled me in, and I loved it. So there are
It's consistently near
certifiably insane
the top.
people who probably should be in an asylum out there listening to our show, and we appreciate
Yeah,
your
genuine
listens.
crazies.
It's consistently one of the highest listened to series. It's a great series. It even has a UFO in
There's
the
just a
middle.
lot of crazy people in the world, Alex. So
Alex
many.
has access to our analytics, like even more now. And I don't even know if he's telling the truth about it. If it's one of the more listened to ones.
It's in the top percentile of Rat-a-tats.
I had a weird feeling you're lying. Actually, I have just a weird feeling that's not true.
Anyway, I'm on episode 214. Was going to wait till I caught up to post, but I probably still have several weeks until then. I'm going to share my mom's weird sightings of ghosts, or I was going to share my mom's weird sightings of ghosts and or other entities. She has dozens, and some are really creepy. But I think I'll leave that for another time if someone asks. I'm asking. For now, I'll share something short and simple, my UFO sighting.
Was that a
And
trailer?
I mean it. Yeah,
I think it is. I think it is
a
a trailer.
trailer. Yes, of things to come. And I mean it in the literal sense. It's simply an unexplained thing in the sky. I don't have weird theories about it, just facts. And the facts are that around 2002 to 2005, I
These
don't
aren't
know
the
which
most
year
precise
exactly.
facts. Yeah.
The facts are somewhere around this time.
I don't know which year exactly, but long before drones were a thing, there was a UFO sighting in Lanelhue Lake. I hope that's it. In south central Chile. We do not get a lot of sightings here, I think.
It says
Not
they says
only-
we do. How dare you? It says we do get a lot of sightings.
We do get a lot of sightings here.
Don't you dare!
I-
Chile honestly is a
They're
big,
one of the big
yeah.
hotspots. Yeah.
Not only I and all my extended family saw it, but there were flashes of light of people taking pictures all over the lakeshore. What I saw was a rust orange light that floated up and down for a while, almost like it was bobbing in sea waves. It wasn't very close. I couldn't tell you how far it was, but it was southwards, probably beyond the opposite shore. It wasn't a plane or a helicopter, and it was silent. It just floated there for a few minutes, at least 5, before suddenly vanishing like it had never been there. It was brighter than a star, but not much more. It was maybe a bit shinier than Venus, but very orange. It didn't have green or red lights like a flying vehicle. I can't think of any normal explanation for it, hence why it's a UFO. A drone could have easily explained it, but they didn't exist yet. No celestial object would bob up and down. They either stay relatively stationary or they move in a rapid, homogeneous speed. We also saw a giant asteroid of some kind explode in the atmosphere.
What?
It's fine to talk about this on the pod. Also unrelated, if you guys need help with pronunciation on Spanish, French, Italian, or German, I mean,
I refuse.
the answer is yes.
I will forever pronounce things the way I want to. Compilations.
I don't understand the
the
obsession. Like, I'm gonna try my best, right? Like, I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, I try.
I'm
I
not
do
gonna
try.
like
I'm
fucking.
here for it. I would love to be able to speak better.
Yeah.
They don't speak good.
Yeah.
Love
Internet
speak better.
clown, no speak good.
I'm trying my best. You know what I mean? I give it I try to read the letters.
You offended Alex. I just want you to know.
It's not that.
Yeah, Alex, as
No,
this last
I wanted
line
to-
says, I'm sure you've gotten a lot of comments of butt-clenching foreigners angry over how you say things. Alex.
Listen, I get posted butt clenching English speakers about how I say things.
Somebody told me I had
about
to, yeah, I'm always getting criticized for everything. Just for saying like a lot. I'm from Southern California. I'm sorry. That's just how we talk. Like how people say y'all in fucking Texas. It's the same shit.
It's true.
Okay.
I say y'all now though, and I'm not even.
I
Texas
sometimes say y'all, and I live fucking 1,000 miles
Good
away.
word. Listen, Texas doesn't have a lot of great things, but that's a good word.
Y'all. Yins. We like yins too. That's
No,
another-
Yins is better. The Pittsburgh Yins is better.
Here's what I want to say about Chile. I don't ever think I've ever made the conscious thought connecting the fact that Chile is like a country that gets a lot of UFO sightings and the fact that it's like a long, slim finger that goes all the way down the entire west coast of South America. So it's all coastal, like the whole fucking thing so of course it has sightings.
Oh, is your thought here that it's like the water stuff? Like
Yeah.
they're underwater, that vibe?
Like it's literally where they say it is basically is like a little bit west of there, right?
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of, I mean, it makes sense. But what's fascinating about this sighting, and maybe you don't know this, maybe you do now because you've been listening to all these episodes, but one of the more common sightings is like a bright orange glowing ball that hangs around Bob, sometimes follows people, and then fucking just shoots off. That's it. There's really not much other than that, usually, but it kind of falls in line with some of the more common UFO sightings. What it is, who fucking knows? Like, I'm trying to think, were there really no drones back in like 02, 05? I mean, I guess it's true because I was graduating.
There had to be drones.
High school.
There had to be drones. I know like spy planes existed, right? Like,
Yeah, but
so
like,
they did
yeah,
exist.
maybe.
They just probably
Government
didn't.
drone?
They
But they
probably
would've
just
made
didn't
a
have
noise.
the profile that we think of today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look up modern drones, but the first drone ever used was 1935.
Yeah, like a
Probably
radio
not
control.
But
Well,
some
like
people are saying
commercially
1917. So like,
Yeah,
those
but
would've been
at
early.
that
I
point,
would've-
but at that point, 2002, 2005, we were actively using the same technology that we think of today as drones, just not like little helicopter bodies. If you know what you know what I'm saying.
It still is a very weird sighting. I'd be very
We
curious.
couldn't do Gyarados in HD over the Honolulu harbor, but we could do some
Yeah,
stuff.
and confuse a bunch of people that they can think it's a UFO taking off. Yeah. Still, I love that. That's like such a typical UFO story, but it's a good one.
yeah, in the 90s we had Predator drones
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would fire Hellfire missiles. So,
Yeah, we definitely had them.
yeah.
I'm coming for South America and Europe with the UFOs. I got some ideas in the hopper.
One day I will do another episode on UFOs one day about specifically UFO counters in like South America and stuff, and how the similarities there, but how violently different they are compared to us for some reason.
Yeah, I also would question how often a modern drone is just chilling out over Chile. You know what I mean?
Languages are just such a very, very effective barrier to information still. And I found that when I did the
That's
Raelians.
like when we discovered that story from Spain, and the only reason why it wasn't widely reported because it was in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
insane.
it's like one of the reasons when people say, "Oh, why are there so many UFOs in only America, nowhere else?" It's like, no, they're everywhere. But
I bet you there's a huge amount of Chinese ones too.
Sure.
yeah, America isn't even the number one hotspot. It's Europe. America's like number 2, I think. But yeah, they're everywhere. All right, let's move on to the next one. Alex, this one's for you.
This one is Dead Moon Rising by Naughty Prince Moth.
I like it. I like everything about it. The name of the post, the author.
I want to first start this off by saying that some of the events that I'll recall happened so long ago or were so traumatizing that bits and pieces of information are missing or my memory is fuzzy on all the details. What I do know is what I'm about to tell you still sends shivers down my spine whenever I think or speak about it. I've grown up in Texas most of my life, and my family was no stranger to the weird, macabre, or paranormal side of things, my mom most of all. We used to watch horror movies, paranormal investigations, and just about every serial killer documentary out there, so I was no stranger to the strange, but I'm often skeptical when it comes to spirits and even things like God, parentheses, as gods. God and gods. This first recollection,
There should be a comic book series run that's just called Gods parentheses Estimate inside.
there's the New Gods by Ram V. Go check that out. The first recollection is from my mom, which happened when I was about 9 or 10 at the time. She has claimed to have heard what sounded like the pitter-patter of paws on linoleum, even when all our animals were asleep. And then to top it all off, she heard the animal's water dish being drank from with none of the animals around it. Now, I'm a bit like Jesse. I try to find an explanation for what happens. My explanations for my mom's experience was more than likely one of the dogs had gotten up and then laid down. As for the water dish, it was a gravity water dish, which oftentimes have air bubbles in them and will make noise. The second recollection comes...
Pause for a second. Just pause for a second.
Yeah.
Have we ever had any story where they say, I'm more of a Mathis or an Alex? Or is it always I'm more of a Jesse? Because I always feel
It's never... I mean, it's very clear which one they actually are when they say it. But almost everyone says they're a Jesse, and then they're like, anyway, I saw a level 5 spectral anomaly.
That's what I just wanted to bring it up. That's all, you know.
But this person is actually like suggesting mundane explanations, which I respect as a
good
as a Jesse cargo cult Jesse vibe. Okay, the second recollection, comes from my brother, which happened when I was about 13 or 14. He was getting a shower when all of a sudden he screamed that he felt someone touch him. I brushed this off as it might have been the shower curtain, a towel, or maybe even just a gust of wind from the air vents. Whatever it was had my mom worried, however, and I learned later that she had bought a Ouija board. Now, whether she messed with it or not, I don't know. I would also like to say that all of the events happened in different houses/apartments. This recollection is from me, however. It happened 3 years ago in my partner and I's first apartment. We had just been through the most traumatic thing a parent goes through and lost our newborn daughter, whose name translates to Moon, due to sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS for short.
SIDS is like, if you know anything about SIDS, this is so fucking, it sucks and it's so tragic.
Yeah, it's horrific, yeah. As if that didn't sting enough, my partner was soon after called to be deployed to El Paso to be part of the border mission. I was alone, dealing with postpartum depression and our daughter's death, and I ended up bed rotting on the couch. Holy cow. That's where I spend most of my, if not all my time. I didn't even watch TV, just stared off into space, unsure of what to do anymore. One day while I was though, something snapped me out of it. Unsure of what it was, I took a look at my surroundings. The animal we had at the time were either curled up with me on the couch or in their bed, so I figured it was a bug or the shadow of a car passing by until I saw it. A porcelain doll that I'd had since I was 11 moved its hand up and down slowly and then stopped.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Fuck that.
No,
that's what I get.
that business.
You see that TikTok of whenever like something spooky happens, and then the guy cuts in and he just picks up a suitcase and he just leaves. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why stick around in the horror movie?
That Eddie Murphy bit where he's like, "Oh, this is a nice house. So this is really good. We're gonna get out. Okay, it's a shame we can't handle it. We're gonna see you guys later."
Yes, exactly.
Okay. A porcelain doll moved and stopped. I brushed it off as being sleep deprived on top of everything else, but it still startled me, so I got off the couch and went to the bedroom, calling the dogs to sleep with me. I drifted off to sleep, but something was off. I was in a room in the dream, but there was no clear walls, floor, or ceiling. Then all of a sudden, this little girl runs up to me. She had dark brown hair, was barefoot, and was wearing a white gown. The gown looked a little familiar, but I couldn't place my finger on it at the time. I later realized it's the same gown the porcelain doll was wearing. She ran up to me and hugged me, calling me Dad. I hugged her unsurely. She then looked up at me and said, "Dad, it's okay. I'm okay." I woke up in a cold sweat, tears rushing down my face, and called my partner, telling them what I had experienced. My partner then asked me if I could see the moon from the room. I was taken aback but said no and asked them why, to which they responded, "The moon's in the shape of a smile." To this day, I don't fully believe that what happened was a paranormal experience, merely just a coincidence on top of my brain trying to process everything and perhaps soothe me as well. But one thing I know for certain is that I'll never forget how it made me feel.
And like, I love that that's your take at the end too, first of all, like, because your brain tells you what's real, what is real. We've talked about that for so long. And as long as the feelings and the emotions that are real that come from the experience, then that's all that fucking matters in the end.
Yeah. And what a thing to fucking live through, man. It's crazy.
All right, here we go. Listener story. My father's UFO sighting in Italy, 1976, from Alien Tripod. Hey, Chilluminati bros. Day one listener here. Mathis's recent UFO sighting prompted me to post here the sighting my dad had back in the 70s. Back in 1976, my father was working at the airport in Venice, Italy. Accounts of UFOs being seen by pilots had been reported sporadically, but during 1975, the numbers skyrocketed. According to him, no secret report of any kind was expected to be compiled after an encounter, nor there was any investigation going on. If anything of such sort existed, it's possible he wasn't informed of its existence. Knowing some of the pilots from the airline ATI, he took the courage to ask for descriptions of the objects that they had seen. Most of them were described as cigar or sphere-shaped, with 1 or 2 accounts of them being saucers. Common maneuvers included flying parallel to the plane, doing 90-degree turns with no loss of speed, and vertical ascending, all of which violated several laws of physics. This behavior seems eerily similar to what the Tic Tac was described to do by the crew of the USS Nimitz in 2004. This situation continued for a year until it reached its highest point on a hot summer day. That day, a flight from Triste, I don't know how you would say it, Triste, had finally landed with no issues.
Trieste?
Apart from what? Triste?
I'm Trieste?
Yeah. The plane had finally landed with no issues, apart from one thing that clearly made the pilot so nervous. The first thing he did after getting off the plane was to call the control tower. Apparently, an object he described as a, quote, silver-colored sphere, approximately 4 meters in diameter, had followed his plane from Rhone to Triste, appearing again after it had taken off from there, following it all the way to Venice. The sphere would fly next to the plane at around 100 meters of distance, while occasionally passing over it and placing itself on the other side. That's such a common thing that is still reported even today by today's commercial pilots. The reason he called was to inform everyone that it was apparently hovering over the airport. The news caught up to my father, who managed to sneak outside with some colleagues, bringing a pair of binoculars with him from his workplace. It was at that moment that he could see it. A silver-colored sphere with a completely smooth and highly reflective surface, hovering motionless at around 200 meters of altitude. Having to go back to his work, he unfortunately didn't manage to look at it any longer. But according to what his colleagues at the tower said, after around 5 minutes, it just suddenly ascended vertically in the blink of an eye. No gradual acceleration, just instant bullet-like vertical ascension with no sound. The sphere didn't appear on any of the radars, just like all the other times UFOs had been reported by pilots. He eventually changed careers 5 years later, but by that time, the sighting stopped being reported long before. I hope this story will be of use when running low on UFO stuff to read. No, just good stuff. My heart goes out to Mathis for trying to wrap his head around the recent UAP mess. Yeah, it's a mess, is damn right. I kind of stopped following the topic since the promise of 40 whistleblowers were never back. Yeah, damn right. I'm with you there too. That along with the gutting of the UAPDA, it's been such huge disappointment. So my vibe from now on is to just wait and see if anything will finally come out of this just around the corner disclosure. Greetings from Japan. Also, hi from the hi in Japan.
That's crazy. You know, that's so similar to story. I've started doing a little bit of research for the stories I'm going to do next year on the show. And one of the UFO stories that I've been looking at doing is really similar to this. I don't want to say which one it is because I don't want to like spoil it, but like this idea of it coming down, everybody seeing it, and then it going straight up and then kind of it not becoming a big deal is it's like a what do you call it? Like an archetype, if you know what I mean. It's like an archetype of sighting in the 2000, like 1970 to like 2010 era.
I mean, one of the big things, I mean, again, this is the 70s in Italy, so I can't speak to that, what it was politically like that when it comes to like reporting the stuff, but they said in the story, like they just didn't report that stuff. And it was, same is true until the past 5 years. I can't remember how many years ago it was here in the US where they finally like opened up the ability for the Air Force to actually report these things and not be fucking ridiculed for it, which is why the number of sightings have gone up by the hundreds every year, because it's even back then they were just like, don't report it, don't want to fucking talk about it, don't, it doesn't fucking matter, leave it alone.
Crazy.
And now like that's changed, and so the slow moving kind of news of it all finally hits. But I'm with him too, where like I'm so sick of this fucking just around the corner bullshit of like all this other shit that just makes it difficult to follow because it just adds so much noise when people should be doing what, and people hate him, but what Stephen Greenstreet does with his Black Vault, FOIA request. Follow the paperwork, because eventually, like he did, you'll find something, official paperwork that contradicts each other that then points to you the direction you need to go. So like, yeah, I'm with you.
Good reason to ask a question.
Damn right, exactly. But this silver board, it reminds me of the Mosul orb video we saw way like last year or whatever it was, these silver
the
orbs.
One that's like caught on the overhead camera.
The drone, I think it's a Predator drone actually, now that you mentioned Predator drone, the Predator drone was following it or something along those lines. Yeah, it's weird. So love that story. Something from the 70s, which is cool, and not in America, which is neat. And that's where we're going to end the Halloween special, everybody. I hope you all enjoy your Halloween, whether you're partying or going out trick-or-treating with your family, even if you're too old for it. Be safe. Have a good time. And we'll be back next week here with a brand new episode. We're going to go to patreon.com/Chilluminati to go do our mini-sode right now.
Bing,
Thank
bing,
you all so
bing.
much. We appreciate you. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Anyway, me and my wife were sitting outside indulging on our porch one night, enjoying ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I stepped back inside, and after a few moments, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out here." So I quickly dash back outside, and she's looking up at the sky in awe. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dozen lights traveling across the sky.